Moin moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude. In one of my photo keynote videos I presented the new Fujifilm X30 and now the camera is in the photo booth. Today I want to show you what are the differences between the X10, X20 and X30, and I want to show you which features are new in the X30. Starting with the sensor and the lens. These are the most important things in this camera. And yes, some of you hope that the sensor would get a little bit bigger and we get a little bit more focal length, especially in the wide angle area. But no, the sensor is the same. It's a 12 megapixel sensor, has the same size like the X20 sensor, and the lens also is exactly the same lens, 28 to 112 millimeter, so no 24 millimeter in the wide angle area. When I compare the X30 to the model of Sony, the RX100, we can compare the sensor size. This one has 8.8 by 6.6 millimeter, that's about 58 square millimeter. The RX100 has double the size, 13.2 millimeter by 8.8 millimeter, that's about 116 square millimeter. And the next one, the newest one, that's the Panasonic Lumix DMC LX100. I showed you on one of my videos several days ago. And this one has a micro four third of 4/3 sensor with 17.3 to 13 millimeter, and that's about 225 square millimeter. That's 4 times more than the X30 has. And also both the Sony and the LX100 starts at 24 millimeter in the wide angle area, so that's a little bit better. It's not a big difference between the 28 and the 24, but it's like 15% more angle. So you have a little bit more wide angle, you get more on the picture for panorama pictures, landscape, and so it's a little bit better than the 28 millimeter of the X30. And the sensor size, if the sensor size is a little bit bigger, you can play more with the depth of field and you can work with the depth of field, and normally you have a better noise situation with a bigger sensor. You have less noise as bigger the sensor gets. So yes, I don't know why Fujifilm doesn't make the sensor as minimum as a 1-inch sensor like the Sony RX100, because then you would have a little bit more to play with the depth of field. But no, it's still the same sensor than the X20, and it's exactly the same lens. And when you look to the front side of the lens, you will see that it starts from 2.0 to 2.8 in the telephoto area. So it's exactly the same lens, which works also in the X20. Coming to the new points and to the differences between the former model, the X20 and the X30, when you look to the back side of the camera, you will see the optical viewfinder here, and you will see the LCD screen here at the X20. And when we have a look at the X30, you will also see the viewfinder, but it's an electronic viewfinder. It's an electronic viewfinder with over 2 million dots resolution, so it's a real high resolution. This viewfinder gives you a real sharp, nice, crisp and clear picture. You won't see any dots, no smearing or something like this. The viewfinder is really a good one, and I like this one very much. I also like the optical viewfinder, but in my opinion, for a camera like this, an electronic viewfinder is very good, because the optical viewfinder, you can see the menus, you have the parallax, and with an electronic viewfinder you can see the menus, you can change the setting without taking the camera from your eye, you can see all the menus in the viewfinder, you have no parallax, and so that's a real nice thing, and the viewfinder is really good, so I like this one very much. And that's a real nice step up from the X20 to the X30. Looking again to the back side of the camera, you will recognize that we have a control monitor, and the control monitor seems to be a little bit bigger, but it's actually not bigger. It's a turnable monitor. You can move it out and you can pop it up like to 90 degrees, and you can move it down to 40, almost 45 degrees. So it's a turnable monitor. And no, the question comes, it's not a touch screen, it's just a normal control monitor. And if you look carefully, you will see that we have on the left side of the monitor, we don't have any buttons anymore, sorry. We don't have any buttons on the left side of the monitor. When you look at the X20, we had here the replay button, AE button for auto exposure, the button for the different drive modes, and white balance button. Some of them are gone and some of them are still at the X30. When you look here, we have the replay button here, we have the drive button here, but we don't have the white balance button and the AE button. We still have the AEL and AFL button for auto exposure lock and autofocus lock. And for the white balance, I show you another nice feature of the X30, which gives you more options in the settings of the camera, and which is a little bit, it's not better, but it's different, and I think it's very good to make the settings in a way like this. So looking on the top of the camera, and there we come then to the point what I want to show you. First of all, to start the camera, still the same like the X20 and X10. Off here, turn the camera to the wide angle and the camera gets on. 28mm, not 24 as I said before, and it goes up to a 112mm in the telephoto area. When we look to the front of the camera, you will see that we have again the dial here to change the different focus modes: single autofocus, continuous autofocus, and manual focus. It's exactly the same like on the X20. The dial on the X20 was a little bit bigger, a little bit, I don't know, but it's only a little bit bigger than this one. This one is more in the body. It's a little bit smaller. It's a little bit, looks a little bit lighter than the one in the X20. And when you look carefully, you will see another button here beside of the lens. This is the button here, and this one correspondent with the dial here at the lens. You see we have the dial here to change the different focal lengths, and we have a second dial here close to the body of the camera, and this one is the one which corresponds with the button here. So I show you what happens when I press the button on the front side of the camera. We have a menu where we can change the different settings for the control ring. So if I want to change it for the ISO setting, I say OK, and now when I turn the dial here on the front side of the camera, you will see here I can change the ISO setting just by dialing. It starts from ISO 100, and it goes up to ISO 12,800. So this is the front dial, and if I want to set the white balance with the front dial, no problem at all. I press the button and then I say, okay, I want a white balance on the front dial. And then when I turn the dial here, you will see I can change from auto to direct Kelvin, sun, and so on and so on. So that's the direct dial to change the different settings. In my opinion, that's a real nice function, because if I want to make different film simulations, very easy, change it to film simulation, and then I turn the dial and I can change here the film simulation. And when we are at the film simulation, there's one new one. We have the first Provia standard, we have the Velvia, Then we have the Astia, and the new one is the Classic Chrome. You will see some sample pictures in my Flickr account in a few days. I will make some sample pictures with the Classic Chrome so you can compare the Classic Chrome to the other film simulations. Next one is the Pro Negative High, Pro Negative Standard, and then monochrome and monochrome with the different filters, and last but not least the sepia setting. So that's the function here of the front dial. I think that's a real good thing, and it's very easy to use. Another function here of the front button, if we are in the manual setting of the camera, then you can change the values by turning the back dial here. It's still the same with you can press the dial, it's still the same. And if you want to change here from the shutter speed to the aperture, just press the front button and then it changes, and you can make the change by dialing the one here at the back side, press again, and you make the change, shutter speed and aperture. So that's the second function here of the button on the front side, to change between different settings here in the different camera menus. When we go to the top of the camera, on the left side we still have the built-in flash. With the LX100 compared to the former model, the LX100 has also the electronical viewfinder, and they moved out the internal flash. They gave you a small compact flash with a camera, but it's an external flash. At the X30 you still have the small pop-out flash here. It's still in the camera, even if we have the bigger electronic viewfinder. Then we have the option here for an external flash, and here at this setting we can change the different programs, starting with P, then we have S for shutter speed, A for aperture, M for manual setting. Then we have the panorama function. The panorama function was at the X20, was in the advanced setting. Now we have the panorama function directly here on the top dial, on the top program dial of the camera. Next point is SP1 and SP2. When we compare this to the X20, at the X20 we only had one SP setting. This was the setting for the different scene programs. Here we have two. The idea behind this is you have two settings like landscape and portrait, and so you can change very fast between the two settings. And when you look at the back side, when we change it, you see when I go to SP2 we have the portrait mode, and you can change here, you can set up the setting by yourself. So if you want to say, okay, for me it's more important to get sport, then you go to sport. And at the SP1 you say, okay, I don't want to have landscape, I want to have, I don't know, this one here, sunset. You put it to sunset, and then when you change here from SP1 to SP2, you will see we have sunset and sport. So these are the two scene programs you have on SP1 and SP2. On the older model, the X20, we had only one SP, but we have two custom programs, Custom 1 and Custom 2. These two are not available at the X30. We have no custom settings here on the dial, but we still have custom settings. And I show you how the custom settings work. We go to the P mode, and then when we go to the P mode, we press the Q button for the quick menu. This also doesn't change compared to the X20. And as you can see here we have base, and when I turn the dial, we have the different settings, custom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or custom 7. So we still have the different custom settings, but not directly on the top dial, but in the menu, in the quick menu, you can change the different custom settings by yourself. Coming after the SP1 and SP2 to the advanced mode, and in the advanced mode, go back to show you in the advanced mode. We have the Pro Focus, we have the Pro Low Light, and we have the multi-exposure. What is missing is the panorama function, because the panorama function now is in direct access on the top dial here of the camera. Next point are the filters, and still in the filters we have the same like in the X20. We have the toy, miniature, pop color, high key, low key, dynamic tone, soft focus, partial color, the different partial color settings. So also here we have the filters, and then we have the automatic mode and the SR Plus, the advanced automatic mode. Shutter release, still with a cable option to put in there a cable release. We have the video start function here. That's new. In the older cameras X20, X10, we didn't have the extra video button, and here we have the exposure correction dial +2, -3 aperture setting. So this is the correction dial, and coming to the back side of the camera, as I said before, replay button, view button. Here you can change between the control monitor and the electronic viewfinder. If you press it again, now we have the LCD only. If you press it 2 times, you change to the automatic mode. Shows here LCD only, and 2 more. We have the eye sensor, so you can change. I will now only have the LCD monitor because I don't want to change it automatically. Then we have the drive mode. When we press the drive mode button, you have the still image. Then you have the different frequencies from super high up to low. Then we have the best frame capture. Then they have the AA bracketing, auto exposure bracketing. Oops, again, drive button. You have the ISO bracketing, the film simulation bracketing, white balance bracketing, and dynamic range bracketing. These are the different bracketing functions we have. Then we have again the AFL autofocus lock and auto exposure lock button. You can program this one either if you want to press it and hold it, or if you want to press it and it's hold and press a second time and it's released, so you can change this in the menu. Again, we have the Q button, same function, quick menu like in the other X20, go to the point you want to change, turn the dial and you make the setting. So it's very easy and very fast to make the most important settings. If you want to change the ISO setting, is here. If you want to change the frame size, you can change it here in this setting. So it's very easy, very fast, and it's still exactly the same like in the X20. Self timer is here. Macro mode and super macro mode is here on the top button. Flash is here at the side. Yes, flash is here at the side, hope so. No, I have to pull out the flash, and then we don't get the flash. I don't know why. And most important, the autofocus field. You will see we have the autofocus field here, and I can change the size of the autofocus field by turning the dial here. That's also exactly the same like the X20, and I can position the field here with the 4-way button and can position the autofocus field wherever I want, change the size by turning the dial. So that's exactly the same like in the X20. Display button, I can change the different display settings from every information to no information, and on the corner here we have the FN button, and the FM button in the standard is programmed for the Wi-Fi function to start the Wi-Fi function. So if I press the button, you start the Wi-Fi function. Wi-Fi function is still the same. You can transmit pictures, and I'm not quite sure if you can control the remote, if you remote control the camera via the app. I'm not quite sure. I didn't try this yet, but for sure you can make the transmission to transmit the picture to a smartphone or a computer, so that still works. As I said, I'm not quite sure, but I think so. they have a built-in remote now over the Wi-Fi function. I have to try, and maybe I make an extra video to show you which functions are in, if it's worth to show this. So these are the buttons, as I said before. The dial here, not only a dial, but also you can press it and can change different settings. Coming back or going back to the menu, I'm on ISO auto, that's why the flash doesn't work. Okay, so coming back to the menus, oops, I'm in the magnifying mode. Coming back to the menus, what did I now? I changed the settings, sorry. So coming back to the menus, and the menus are still the same like at the X20. There are some points which are together. We have here the autofocus setting, where we have the different settings for the autofocus. Then we have ISO, image size, image quality, film simulation bracketing. No, that's the reason why I don't have the flash. I will change this because I want to show you that the flash works. So, and now here is the flash setting. Sorry for this. That's one reason why the flash cannot work if we are in the bracketing function. Coming back to the menu, film simulation, bracketing, self-timer, interval timer shooting, we have white balance, the different settings for color sharpness, high tone and shadow tone, noise reduction. So these points are, I think it's almost exactly the same like we have in the X20. There are some minor differences, but all over the settings are the same. One point is important, and that's new. We have the movie setup, and in the movie setup we have a little bit more advanced movie options, because now we have full HD with 60 frames per second. So that's new. In former cameras we have only the 30p option. Now we have the 60p option, the 50p, 30, 25 and 24 frames per second. And also in the small HD resolution we have some more settings. So this is a little bit more advanced than in the older cameras. And one very important point, the data rate is a little bit higher than in the normal AVC HD mode. Normal AVC HD we go up to 28 megabits per second, and on the X30 we go up to 36 megabits per second. So a little bit higher than the normal AVC HD mode, and so I hope that the picture quality or the video quality is getting a little bit better than the one in the X20. I have to try. I have the camera only like 2 days, so I didn't try the video quality, but I will check and I will tell you in my test how the video quality in the X30 is, and if it's getting a little bit better and more interesting to make movies with the X30 than with the X20, which wasn't not so good to make videos. So this is new in the X30, the 60p, 50p option, and the higher data rate. And the other points, as I said, exactly the same like in the X20. The menu is the same. On the side we have the USB and the HDMI output. HDMI is no live HDMI, so it's only for replay photos and videos, not for when you take a video to put an external monitor or a cinemizer on the camera. It's not possible because HDMI is not live out. One interesting point or important point, there were a lot of complaints about the battery life of the X20 because the battery was real small, and when you're out and you worked a little bit longer, you have to change the batteries very often. You have to take like, I don't know, 2 or 3 spare batteries with you to get a long day for shooting with the X20, because the had only 1000 milliampere hours, so that's a real small one. And that's very good because the new one of the X30 has a little bit more power. And if we compare the size, you will see also the size is much bigger than the one of the X20. And now we have 1800 milliampere hours. So that's not double, but it's almost double the capacity of the X20. That's much better. But one thing is gone. Usually you have an external loader for the batteries, but now we have this one not anymore, and Fuji changed it to this USB loader, so you have to put the cable in the camera on the USB port and load the camera, the battery in the camera. So it's not possible to load a spare battery out of the camera while you work with this camera. I think that's a little bit, I don't know. I would love to see what in a camera for this price again to have an external battery loader. It's much better, and I love this one much more. But okay, you have to buy an extra one. You have to buy it from Fuji, or you can take a non-brand camera, a non-brand name to get spare batteries and extra loader. So these are the main differences or the main points between the X20 and the X30. Put it together, same sensor, same lens, there's nothing changed. New is the electronic viewfinder, the turnable monitor, the extra dial here on the lens, the video function 60 and 50p in full HD, the new film simulation. These are the most important new things which we have in the X30. And a little bit design, a little bit newer design, especially because we don't have the front lens here for the viewfinder. This one is gone, so yes, it's a little bit cleaner design, but the camera is a little bit bigger. When you compare it here, it's a little bit bigger and it's a little bit heavier than the X20. If you want to know something about the picture quality between these cameras, please go to my Flickr account. In the Flickr account there's an album, and you will see the X30 album, and there are test pictures of the X30, so you can compare it by yourself. You can compare it also to the LX100 or to the RX100 of Sony. It's a little bit difficult to explain in videos the different picture quality because of the low resolution of a video, and so it's much better to go to my Flickr account and compare it by yourself. In my opinion, and it's for sure same sensor, same lens, so the difference between these both X20 and X30, there are only minor differences. There's no big step up in the picture quality, but you also can compare it to the LX100 or to the RX100 of Sony. It's very difficult for me to explain all the differences between every camera we have, so you can download the test pictures in the different ISO settings, and you can compare it on your computer and compare it side by side, and you will see the differences between the cameras in noise and sharpness and brilliance and detail. So that's the easiest way for you to compare it. If you like my video, give me a like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to support me and Ralfs Foto-Bude, please buy the camera over one of my Amazon links, or any stuff else you can buy over my Amazon links, and you support me and my work for the Foto-Bude here. Thank you for watching me. Come back again. There are coming up some more videos, and as every time I say bye and moin moin.